Good morning, everybody. I'm Rita Hickman with Inspire Massage, and this is the Healership Path. Thanks for joining us. So Irma Francis needs to take a few days off, so she'll be joining us hopefully later in the week or next week at the latest. And I'm so looking forward to having her back and her point of view. But in the meantime, we're going to have a lot of fun with some great topics which are always near and dear to my heart. So what is the Healership Path? The Healership Path is for women especially who are looking to heal themselves, to help people that they love to heal, or to start a healing practice. Now, healing in many traditions is not necessarily where the person stays alive per se. It's not necessarily where a bone heals or something that's physical changes. In healing, for many traditions, it's when we heal the heart. Because when we heal the heart is when our physical body starts to heal itself as well. So the topic today is this stuff just got real. So one of the biggest challenges that I see many healers have is that they cover their ignorance with a type of spiritual arrogance. And the spiritual arrogance is what is almost always going to lead you into trouble down the road. I totally understand, because we're working so hard to feel confident about what we do that we know we need to have this persona of the guru or someone who really has the answer for somebody, because that's part of the healing process too. People need to be able to trust that when they come to you, that you will help them find the answer. Now, I happen to have a little backdoor trick for that. I tell people that I'm confident that together we'll figure out the solution to what's going on. And if we don't know now, then as we go along the journey, we'll sort it out. That means that I don't have to walk in the door thinking that I need to have all the answers, because I certainly don't. And it's that spiritual arrogance that will get us into trouble. A lot of times we also want to be able to have answers for people. So we try to look at things from their point of view without actually having much experience. And then we give advice, which might not be really helpful. My specialty is helping people who have had past childhood trauma of some sort. Maybe their parents got divorced, or maybe they were assaulted in some way, or perhaps they were raised in an addictive family structure. And they went to counseling and they got all the help that they needed, and now they're adults, but things aren't going as smoothly as they would like. They can't quite figure out why they're sabotaging themselves or why things go wrong. That's my specialty of working with people. And those sorts of things are actually in our shadow self. They're kind of suppressed and hidden in our subconscious. And my job is to help people bring things out of their subconscious into their conscious mind so that they can do something about it. Does that make sense? So, I mean, my job isn't to give people answers. My job is to help shine a light on the things which are going on for them and give them a little bit of relief and some tips and some tools to help them not be in a place of suffering. If you know how to help someone, then I work very hard to hold an even sort of space for them, hold a sacred space, so that together we can pick through the memories and the stories and figure it out. Because in my desire to help, I can, and I have in the past, spoken from a place of not really knowing. Now, I had a woman that I was working with the other day, and I had given her some suggestions on how to have a conversation with someone that she wanted to move forward from. She wanted to have a different experience with. And I'm sure she's been dealing with this all of her life, because like all of us, we don't like conflict. We don't like when we have to tell somebody something and we don't know how they'll respond. It's a very sticky sort of situation. And so many times we overreact or we underreact for ourselves, for what we want to do. We react more strongly than who we'd like to be, and we react less strongly than who we'd like to be. We kind of can go to both extremes. So when she came to me with this problem, I said, well, here's some suggestions on how to communicate with this person. And she came back a week later and said, I didn't do it. I feel like I'm such a failure. I feel like this didn't work out. Now, I hear this story a lot of times from a lot of people, and I felt it myself too, whether it be in business or whether it be in real life with personal relationships. We think that the first time we're going to do something, we should be great. We should be awesome out of the gate. Like this weekend, I went to the Arlington racetrack. And when I first started betting on horses years ago, I was really good. And then I started to realize all the things that I didn't know. And I started to lack confidence. And then I stopped betting. And because I assumed that I should just magically, intuitively, I was a healer, wasn't I? I should have all of this special information. I should be great at what I do. And that's not necessarily true. We aren't all great at what we do, and we need practice, and we need time. We need to do it in our head. We need to practice with friends. And then the first few times, the first dozen times we do it, we aren't going to be very good at it. So that's the missing piece that a lot of people don't hear is someone gives them advice. They may say, well, you want to try this and you want to try that. And they try it and it doesn't work and it fails miserably and they bomb horribly in life. And then they stop because why keep going? Because you're not going to figure it out anyways. And many healers will then say, well, if you had just followed my advice, if you just done this, well, why didn't you try this next time? Why didn't you try that? Why didn't you try something different? And we come from a spiritual arrogance of saying, you're right. You did do it incorrectly. You did do it wrong. And maybe this time, if you read my next book or you watch my next video, then maybe you'll figure it out. Now, that's something that is doomed to make people fail because in real life, we don't get things automatically, even if we've got this wonderful gift for it. Even if we're a natural, we have to study and we have to practice and we have to have these experiences. And my job as a healer isn't to tell somebody that they didn't follow my advice correctly. My job is to help them feel comfortable and safe so that they keep trying and they keep figuring out what their path is. But if I came from a place of insecurity, or if I came up from a place of wanting to feel like I was really helping someone, then I'm not really helping them. In my experience, especially with personal relationships, I've understood that you have to have a long-term goal. You have to realize that every step you take, every time you practice something, that you're moving closer to the goal that you really wanted to have. And so you can't lose hope and you can't lose faith, or if you do, it'll be for a little while, because it's a long-term process. Everything in life takes a lot longer than we want it to. And in fact, there's a marketing phrase that says, just when you think that nothing's going to work, when you've tried your last tool, your last trick, it's only after that things start to pick up traction, that things start to really make a difference, and you start to see some results. But it takes so much longer than you expect. So my job as a healer is to help the people who are trying to figure out how to feel better, or how to confront someone, or how to get rid of their pain. My job is to encourage them to stay the course, to keep looking and to stay open to new possibilities and new ideas. It's not to learn something new and maybe this one will do the trick. Actually, in reality, it's when you put enough coins on one side of the scale that's when the scale finally tips. So you want to make sure that you just keep working towards the goal that you're looking for. You keep moving in the direction of what your dreams and your desires are. Does all of that make sense? So as a healer, people come to me looking for answers. And if I don't give them the confidence that they need, that I have their answer, then they'll lose faith, because for a time being, I'm their confidence. I'm the thing that holds them strong. But you as a healer need to know that your job isn't to give people answers. It's to make them feel confident and comfortable and strong and wise, and that there's hope. But it's certainly not to solve their problems, because unless you really know, and how many of us can ever be in somebody else's shoes completely? If we had the same genetics, if we had the same background, if we had the same history, if we had the same environment as they do, then maybe we could talk. We can only talk about what it was like for us. I remember seeing some commentary on Tony Robbins, and someone mentioned that all the great gurus, they teach based as if everybody were them, as if everybody had that spirit and that drive, or that passion in their belly for the same sorts of things that they did. And so they give you the tools and the tips and the tricks for people who already have that motivation. But what about the people in the world that aren't you, that struggle to get out of bed in the morning, that don't have the motivation or the hope to take it to the next step, that have had maybe more difficult times or difficult experiences than you have? What about those people? And so my job is to, as I said, hold a sacred space. And a sacred space to me is one where people can feel hopeful and safe, and as if they can trust that, yes, together we'll figure it out and they're not alone. And maybe I have some things to add. But also then to help them realize that we can figure it out, that the answers are inside of them. And I'm just there to shine a light. I'm not there to give advice, except when I do, because, you know, who doesn't give advice? But not to think that my way is the only way, is the right way. Because when we do that, we disempower people. We take away the things that that will actually heal them. We take away the things that will move them in the direction that they want to go. So when I take over, when I tell them that I've got all of their answers and all of their solutions, that works for a few moments. But then after that, I need to help them bring out the wisdom and the understanding and the stories that they have. In my knowing, in my understanding, as soon as I start to talk, as soon as I start to explain where I'm coming from, that's when a lot of my solutions show up. When I put down a thought or an idea which I was holding on to, it gives space for the next thought or idea to come in, for the next seed to be planted. I'm now open for change, and I'm open to make a shift in the world and in my life. So, as I said, my job as a healer is to help people have hope, help them have faith that we will figure it out. On the front end, I may say, hey, I've got all of your answers, come to me, we can figure it out, because that's where people are at. You know, many healers in cultural traditions, they will use what some people will call tricks. And they aren't really tricks. They're metaphors for what they're doing. I remember a story of a shaman in a tribe in you know, like one of the rainforest tribes. And they would do their healing practice, and they would have wires, tiny little wires, hidden under their tongue and in different parts of their body, you know, maybe their belly button or things like that. And they would make these movements on the person that they were healing with. And then they would take this wire out from underneath their tongue or out from their belly button, you know, or little pieces of things. And they'd say, see, this is what I took out of you. Now, in reality, they took the energy, they took the belief, they took the idea out of someone. They didn't necessarily take the wire. The wire's the metaphor. But the person that you're working with at the time, they need to feel that you took this wire out of them, that you took this physical manifestation of their belief or their sickness out of them. They need to feel that you did something. But as the healing relationship continues and as the person starts to grow and have confidence because they're seeing positive changes in their life, that's when you can really start to share the secrets that they do have it within themselves. So if you know that, if you stay grounded in knowing that anything that you tell people is to just boost them up and give them a solid foundation so that they can find their own answers, then you don't get trapped in that spiritual arrogance. That arrogance is what happens when we think that we're actually healing somebody, that we're doing it. Many people will say, well, I'm not doing it. It's a gift from my higher power. It's a gift from my creator. But really, who is the creator? It's me, it's you, it's us together, it's our environment, it's our community, it's everything. Creator is everything that exists. So on the one hand, if someone needs to hear you say, creator is doing this, that's true. And that metaphor will help people move forward until they get to the next step. Because the next step is when they realize they are the creator. They are the healer. They're the ones that are doing all of the work, the two of you together, the synergy. They're the ones making the choices and creating the environment that they want. They aren't a victim to their situation, but they might not be ready or in the right spot to hear their own wisdom. So many times when we work with someone to get better immediately, we want to do something and they immediately, their cancer is gone or their pain is gone. And we can do that temporarily for them. We can do that in short periods of time. Does that make sense? But the next step is helping them realize that they're the healer in their own world, in their own situation. And that's when it gets real. That's when things go from theory of, well, maybe you should try this or maybe you should try that, to reality. I can't tell you how many times in my own life I've had to hold on to a faith, to something bigger than me, to the end game of knowing if we go through these steps, if we go through the 5 steps of the healership path, of the angst, of the pain, of the epiphany, of the coming back to reality, if I go through these steps, which sometimes can take years, that I will get where I'm going. Now, the only reason I know that is because I've done it so many times in my life where I've had to hold on to a vision and work my way back. You know, many millionaires, for example, they'll tell you they've had millions several times. They've had millions and then they've lost it all, and millions again and lost it all. And they've had to build their way back up. Now, you as a healer, that's what makes you a great healer. Is when you've gone through those experiences over and over again where you realize this is a process. Love and joy and healing is a process. It's miraculous. The process is completely miraculous, but it's not something that will happen at the tip of a hat. Now, you'll hear stories of healers that are able to create fantastic miracles, help people walk, or remove a tumor, and they did it immediately. You know, they did it just with one healing, with one visitation, let's say. And that is true, but you don't follow the Cinderella story long enough, because after the fact, months later or years later, many times those things will come back. And it's true with cancer and other illnesses as well. You can remove a tumor, but the percentages, the odds are that that tumor will come back, because it's not about the miraculous healing. It's about making the shifts and the changes in your life so that your body responds differently to reality, so that you're doing different things. The cells and and your nervous system and everything changes over within years. You know, you're a new you almost every 7 years. And so the only thing that keeps you in the place that you are, sick or dealing with the issues that you do, are the patterns of your behavior, the patterns of your choices every day, the environment that you choose to have, or the changes that you don't make, or the situation that you're in. That's what keeps you stuck. But people think, oh, if I just change my belief, if I just mantra this enough, if I just do this enough, then finally my life will change. And if it doesn't change quick enough, it's because I'm a failure. That's not it at all. Healing and growth and change have to do with day after day. You succeed, and then you fail, and then you succeed again, and then you fail again. Our job is to help people feel comfortable with that process, or to make the process as easy as we can. You know, I do body work, I do shiatsu massage. And so I will help people, we'll have dialogue and we'll have conversations, and then I'll actually help them feel better. Because change and growth and healing can be a very uncomfortable process. Does that make sense? It's not something that we necessarily look forward to in the short end, because what's the immediate gain? We don't know if we'll ever reach the goals that we ever had, that we ever set. My job is to help people keep the faith and make the process gentle and easy and as comfortable as I can, so that people have the energy and the wisdom to keep moving forward. And as a healer, I know this because I've been through it myself, time after time after time. I've been through it where I've had to pick myself up. I've had to figure it out again and realize, oh, what wisdom, what lesson did I get from this? That's what makes me great at what I do. Not because I perform miracles, unless you see breathing as a miracle, and I certainly do. So it's not because I perform miracles, but because I help people understand that they are doing it perfectly, that they are on the right track, that this is a process, that there are things that they can do to make it easier, that they are always evolving and growing if they let themselves. And if they relax and allow the process to happen, continuing to make these positive shifts and changes, they will always get where they want to go. Because that's the real secret. The real secret isn't the right headline, it isn't the right technique or the move or the answer. It's the fact that you believe in what you want to do, and so you keep doing it. That's why they say do what you love, because it's the passion for what you love that will keep you moving forward, that will keep you changing and growing and shifting. So my job is to help keep people have the passion, to re-spark that passion and to help them fill their well, to give them whatever they need to keep moving forward. It's not to have their answers, except if they need me to have their answers at the beginning. They're so lost and they're so stuck that they need to believe in me because they don't believe in themselves. So I will be that person sometimes. So when I do things or say things, it'll come across as if I'm arrogant, as if I've got all the answers. But I quickly tell people that I don't, that I sound confident, and I'll give them that great feeling, that great structure that they need, but that really the answer is them. The answer is something that we'll find out and we will create together. So if people need me to be a little bit more confident than I want to be, then that's who I'll be. If they need me to listen, then that's who I'll be. If they need me to be flexible, that's who I'll be. Because if I choose to be a healer, then I'll walk out into the world and offer myself to the people who are looking for a little bit of help. Now, that doesn't mean that I have to let myself get empty, but you do realize that when you help people and when you love people and when you come from a place of sincere understanding of the process they're going through, then it fills your well. You know, I know a lot of people who are in relationships where it's kind of pay to play. You know, well, this is what I have to put up with if this is what I want from them. And that's kind of a pragmatic point of view. But what they don't realize is that when you give from a place of wanting to give to them, sincerely giving to them, then that that movement, the feeling of love that sparks within you is what will fill you. Not how they respond, not whether they like it, not whether they appreciate it, but that spark of love. So even if someone doesn't see the results that they're looking for when I help them, it's because I came from a place of love that my well is filled. And it's my sincere affection and it's my sincere gratitude and desire that helps change their attitude towards life. You know, one of my favorite philosophers lately is Confucius. And he believed that it was ritual and ceremony that helped people grow, because it provided a structure. And it wasn't just ritual to do ritual. It wasn't just we're going to go in and maybe do the sign of the cross or take communion. You know, as you might be able to tell, I was raised a good Catholic. You know, it's not that you do everything right. The piece that is usually missing out of ritual and ceremony is the feeling part, the sincere, authentic feeling of love, compassion, and caring. And when you do that on a regular basis, it makes you shift and change. So when people come and see me on a regular basis and I influence them or inspire them with my love, with my sincerity, with my care for them, then they will grow, change, and start to heal. Because that, as I said at the very beginning of our live stream today, that's what does the work. Is my sincere caring and helping create an environment for them where they can become the person that they want to be. So that's about it for today. Thank you so much for joining me. If you'd love to stay on track because you want to heal yourself or someone you love, or people out in the world, then go to inspiremassage.com and sign up for our emails. I send them out just about every day because I want to help us all stay on track. Because when we come together as a tribe, that's when we really make the world a much peaceful, joyful place to live in. And actually, I'm kind of selfish. I want to live someplace where I'm surrounded by people who feel good and are happy. I don't do this because it makes me a better person. I do this because I want to enjoy my life as much as possible. And I'm not going to enjoy it if I'm surrounded by people who are unhappy with their life. So when we raise everybody up, then we get raised up too. So with that, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks. Bye.